Save the Soil, an initiative by the Isha Foundation. This is Chris speaking, Shores of Infinity, with a video about Save the Soil. Because one of you has pointed out in the comments below, thank you very much, that Sadhguru has initiated an initiative called Save the Soil. Why has he done so? Because any enlightened guru sooner or later realizes that it is not enough to just work spiritually. You have to manifest also something on the gross plane, on the physical plane. Because we're all sitting in the same boat. There's only one boat, which has two names. One name is the planet Earth, the other name is humanity or life on Earth. But it's all the same. It's only one boat and we're all sitting in it. And of course, some of what we experience and perceive is illusion, but some is not. And we have to work on all three different planes, on the physical, on the subtle, and the mental plane. It's not enough just to tinker around in the subtle and mental plane. At some point we realize this. In Buddhism we call this bodhisattva. So the first step is, of course, to reach enlightenment yourself. Otherwise you can't help anyone. It's like with the masks in the airplane. First you have to put on the mask yourself and then you can help others. And as Sadhguru points out in his documentary and in interviews, link of the documentary below, this is not an environmental issue. This is a civic issue. Of course, it's also an environmental issue. It's also about nature and saving the planet and so on. But it's more a civic issue. The planet itself will not be destroyed by us destroying the topsoil, by allowing and promoting the erosion and disappearance of topsoil. The planet will survive it, but life on Earth might not, or might not in the way it's now. Definitely we will not survive it as humanity, as our human species. The official and conservative estimates are that we will still have food produced from topsoil for 40 or 50 years. But then, not anymore. This goes back to the agricultural revolution, when we have invented fertilizers. So from a chemical point of view, if you put enough fertilizers like nitrogen into the soil, no problem. But it's not all just inorganic chemistry, it's organic chemistry and biology as well. The microorganisms in the soil are actually at least as important as the right chemicals in the soil. So the type of agriculture that has been practiced in industrialized countries the last 100 years or so, or maybe 140 years tops, is destructive. And this is a big problem. It's a much bigger problem than CO2. So many people are geared towards the CO2 problem. The CO2 problem is very small compared to our topsoil problem or deforestation problem or plastic in the oceans or other poisons in the oceans problem. And why is this a civic issue? Why is this not primarily an environmental issue but a civic issue? Because it's avoidable. All these problems, deforestation, topsoil erosion, poisoning of soil and ocean, plastic problem and so on, they're all avoidable. We could stop it any day. As we have seen in the last 3 years, things can be changed dramatically if we want to. But what happens instead of changing it, we're promoting it. Countries that didn't have that problem until recently, like India, have it now because these kinds of destructive agriculture methods have been introduced into India. And the multinational companies that profit from this are the ones who are buying up land all over the world. So they're destroying land and private small farmer land ownership, and then buying up the land which is devalued, because they know that in a few decades there will be a war around who possesses the most farmland. Also, private billionaires are buying up land a lot. So not only is this about millions or even billions of people dying soon, it's also about taking back control a little bit, back from the psychopaths that have been trying to dominate world politics and economy over the last few decades. People who want to cull down human world population. Unfortunately, they're not starting with themselves. They want the poor people to die. So the last 50 years, most spiritual teachers, they talked a lot about how everything is an illusion and we can't do anything because there is no action. It's just Maya unfolding and so on. Yeah, but now we see where this led to. Conscious people have left all actions to unconscious people, because that's what it is. It's not a problem about good versus evil. It's a problem consciousness versus inconsciousness versus ignorance. As Aurobindo explains very well in his book The Life Divine. Check out my videos about the Life Divine, especially the first part of the second book that deals with the problem of consciousness and inconsciousness. Because that is also part of the experiment, part of this cosmic game, part of Lila, part of Maya, is can we grow out as a human species? Can we grow out of this inconscience? You might call it evil and suffering, but spiritually it's called inconscience and ignorance. Can we grow out of this ignorance into knowledge and conscience? Can we overcome this egoism and psychopathy collectively? So this is an environmental issue, a civic issue, and a spiritual issue. Do we leave this experiment of the planet Earth and life on Earth and humanity on Earth to the most unconscious, ignorant people? Do we leave all important roles like politics and economy to ignorant psychopaths, or not? Or do we do something? Do we finally do what Plato suggested 2,500 years ago, that the wise will be the kings, the philosopher kings? Why do we abandon politics to horrible people that no one likes? I don't know anyone who says, oh, these politicians, they're really great, I like these people, they're really, wow, I'm glad we have them. No. The spiritually and the wise have abandoned the sandbox and left it to very, very strange children, the bullies. And we said, okay, let the bullies play, let them play it out until they grow up and get mature. But they don't. They just become bigger bullies and show other bullies that it's okay to be a bully. So our democracies, which we are so proud of, have become kleptocracies. They have become the reign of the least worthy, because the worthy somehow think it's beneath them, which makes them unworthy too. So maybe human life on Earth should die out. Maybe we fucked it up already, but maybe not. So this experiment, this cosmic experience of humanity and the consciousness of humanity, it's up to us to bring it into fruition. We could let it die and say, okay, it was too hard. Or we could do something. For example, we could stop being afraid of bullies. That would change a lot. And that is the civic issue per se. To stand up against bullies. Do you like movies where people have the courage to stand up against bullies? Or do you like movies where they sit back and let the bullies destroy everything and kill everyone? You can enact the storyline you prefer. What would be the whole point in the experiment of consciousness on Earth if consciousness could not win, could not transform itself out of ignorance into a higher consciousness? The possibility, the potential is there. And it's up to you. Only you can save mankind.